Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Jane Johnston, Realtor here in Victoria, and this is a show where we cut through the noise and talk about what's actually happening in our local market.
I'm Andrew Plank, also a Victoria Realtor. We'll talk stats, timing, neighborhoods, and what we're seeing behind the scenes.
And I'm Jen Lowe, mortgage broker. I'm the numbers person of the group, and I'll chime in with the mortgage side.
Each week, we break down what the market means for you.
All focused right here on Greater Victoria.
No hype, no pressure, just honest conversations, local insight, and practical advice.
Let's get into it.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. It is April 28th. Welcome to the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show. I'm Jane Johnston with Briar Group at Remax Camelson. I'm here with...
Hey, everybody. Andrew Plank here, Personal Real Estate Corporation with the Vibe Collective and Royal LePage Coast Capital.
Awesome. I am Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group. Good to see you guys.
Hi there.
So, do we want to hop right into this, or do you want to talk about your weeks?
Busy.
Jen, how about you?
Very busy, and the sun is shining. It's been great.
I feel like it's like this weekend was kind of one of those turnover weekends when a lot of activity happened. What about you, Andrew?
It definitely feels like the heat just keeps getting turned up as we move further into spring. It's definitely busier as I'm getting more calls from people wanting to sell, more people wanting to buy. It's getting to that point where I may have to start to refer or tell people I'm unable to take on certain things if this continues, which is it's a good problem to have for sure. So there is that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I found I got a lot of I wrote offers, got offers accepted, and then I'm finding it also a bit touchy, which means sellers and buyers are trying to figure things out.
Yeah, there's some froth. There's certainly some froth. And by the way, I'm for anyone who's listening who might be thinking of working with me, I'm not saying I can't work with you. I'm certainly hoping that we can close up some of the loops for my active buyers and sellers and make space. But I definitely starting to feel like we're near peaking on that. Jen, what was that?
I was just going to say, yeah, it's definitely heated up for sure. Got a few active purchases that came in Monday morning, which is wonderful. One interesting piece to be aware of is that it's certain lenders or every lender has a slightly different turnaround time with when you how long it takes to get that mortgage approval. So it's one thing that I do, and you guys are always so great when I work with both of you. And how long do we need for that financing condition? What can we do? Because depending on the type of applicant, because every application is different, can I get an approval with a lender that I'm going to get an approval back literally in 2 hours? Because we can get that. But other lenders, it can be a week to 10 days. So it really, it's an interesting time, especially when the market does start heating up, as lenders also keep us updated. Okay, our turnaround time isn't so great right now. And if I know that I have to go to that particular lender for an approval, it's always great to have that conversation with you guys. So I appreciate that.
And where this came up on the weekend is I wrote an offer for a client, and that client, we wrote an offer subject to sale. And I asked if we get the offer accepted, that they give us 10 days if they get an offer on their property. And the realtor's like, my clients never need 10 days. And I was like, well, my client, this person tends to work with people who are high net worth. I'm like, we don't all have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do need a little more time. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it's not possible to get it, but the banks are going to do a little more vetting on that. It's a bit of ironic, Jen, that you were saying, as we go into busier times, And as the activity and maybe demand gets higher, and so then the competition is higher, And all the more important that a buyer can have a shorter timeline. And yet the banks are getting their desks are piling up with files, and they're saying we need a longer timeline. So you're kind of at odds there. The busier we get, the less time we have. And yet the busier we get, the more important it is that we be competitive in terms of our conditions, like how long we put in for financing.
Right.
And it is hard. I have to admit, like I had a financing condition on Friday, and I was getting really impatient because I was waiting on this particular lender. We'd had the file sitting there for over 5 days and I hadn't heard anything. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to send this to another lender and get an approval. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
Especially, if that lender has a higher rate. I mean, ultimately we want to go with the lender that has the best options for the client. But there is that option that we can do if necessary, depending on the circumstance. 100%. There's lenders that we can get an approval back in a few hours. So
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And I was saying to her, like saying to Jen, you can also get a preliminary approval, and then you can get a subsequent approval from a different lender if it's going to take longer, so that at least the person knows if they can move forward. But it's
Yes.
And this is why you go with a broker, right? Because they're going to be negotiating for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We can go to one lender to another, and exactly.
We've seen many times, and this isn't always ideal, but people actually get their approval, remove their conditions, and then they go back and try to find a better situation than they had from their approval. And that's possible. And Jen, you can speak to this, but then we also need to be able to get access for an appraiser, and it can complicate matters. And
Yes.
And that happened last week for one of my clients who was selling, and we have a second appraisal, and the seller's wondering why they're having a second appraisal. I was trying to explain that we have a different lender probably being contacted. They're looking for different rates, and so they're analyzing the house.
Because the seller is then saying, oh my God, what's going on? They've removed their conditions. Why are they getting appraisals? Are they not able to buy? Is there a second opinion happening? Are they going to walk away? Like, nothing scares a seller more than, the money people coming in after the fact.
Yeah. This is all a good segue for the financing report, Jen.
Sure is.
Yes. Well, and on one final point too, with the appraisals, don't let the sellers get scared with that too, because from one lender to another, you can't necessarily use this. Well, you can't use the same appraisal report. You either have to get a letter of transmittal, but every lender is slightly different with how they accept appraisals, whether or not it has to be ordered through a third party, who they will allow appraisals from, all those kinds of things. So again, in working with a broker, if we know that we might want to go from one lender to another, I'm going to try and set the appraisal up from the get-go so we don't have to order other appraisals, but it's not always avoidable. So yeah.
It's we also, and Jane, I know you do this as well, put into all of our purchase contracts that there is the seller is bound to, it has to agree to provide access even after conditions have been removed for an appraiser, because without that, the seller does not actually have to provide access, and sometimes sellers don't for whatever reason. And so this allows for that piece, but it also ensures that, or it should ensure that the buyers, that the listing agent has a conversation with their seller about that clause, so that they can explain the fact that, an appraiser may come in after the fact, and it's not a surprise and it's not abnormal.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about letting your clients know what's going to happen next, and then when it happens, A, they're not stressed, but B, they accommodate it. They accommodate the change, and that all came out of COVID.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so what is happening with mortgage financing right now?
So this week we have the Bank of Canada rate announcement tomorrow. We are not expecting any changes with the overnight lending rate. So if you're a variable rate holder, I'm not expecting any changes there. There's not many that I would bet on, but this is one that I would bet on, that there's very, very slim, slim, slim chance that there's going to be any movement on the overnight lending rate.
Okay, and any good deals out there for any lenders we should be paying attention to or that you communicate with?
It's definitely something that for clients that ask me, I want the lowest rate. It's okay, but I want a fixed rate. I want the guarantee of a fixed rate. And I always talk about sort of an in between in looking at a fixed payment variable rate, that your payment isn't going to change, but you get the benefit of a lower rate currently with a variable rate, as right now there's a significant spread between what you can get with a variable versus a fixed. So right now that spread's about 0.6%, 0.6, 0.7%. So rates would have to go up quite a bit in order for it to be worthwhile to take that fixed.
So when you have a spread like that, so can you actually give me the rate of fixed and rate of variable? And then what's the difference in payment on $500,000? Like, is it an extra $150 a month or?
So it would be a couple $100 a month. I would call it $250 a month difference payment wise. And the spread, so right now we're at about like 3.6 to 3.7 for a variable, and a fix is around 4.39.
That's a lot of money every month, you know?
Yeah.
That being said, it's still low interest rates overall.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not high interest rates. I mean, when I bought my home, I think we were at 8%. My first home. And
I love
yeah,
it
but
when
you were,
because people get so, worked up in the fixed rates are so high. Well, if we're coming out of a 1 to 2% rate, I get that. It seems really high, but rates are
historically low. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were
okay,
you
so
going to say,
let's,
Jane? You were going to argue that point. Let's get into it.
I was saying you probably bought your house for $250,000.
285. Thank you very much. On half an acre in Langford, but that was in 2002. And but yeah, the interest rates were higher. And you're right, you don't mind maybe those higher interest rates, but at the time, we weren't making the same kind of income, and that money still felt like a lot of money. I certainly feel like today, it's a different scenario. So
yeah. Okay, so let's go to the weekly stats, kiddos. Andrew, you want to take it away?
New listings in the last week, 386. New listings the week before, 455. So we're down a little bit week over week. Pending properties, 190. So our pendings are up versus 156 the week before. So less new listings, more new pendings. It's interesting to see. Price decreases, just a wash, 197 this week versus 197 the week before. 43 properties expired unsold this week, whereas 59 the week before expired unsold. We expect to see those numbers bounce around more based on when people have their contracts expire than any kind of market piece.
Okay.
List to sale ratios. Certainly, as we just saw, a lot more listings coming up, or less listings coming up and more sales. So that changes that ratio from the week before. So we have a higher list to sale ratio, 49.22%. That's a pretty good list to sale ratio. The week before it was 34.29.
Yeah. So, and I think we can blame that on the fact we have less listings coming on the market, and we have a little bump there on the sales, obviously.
Fair. Yep.
All right, net unconditional sales. So we did predict this, that we didn't think we were going to reach the 642. We have a few days left. We're at 531 for April 2026 compared to April 2025. And new listings were at 1,435, down from last year at 1,629. And total active listings were overall up over April last year at 3,636. And that's about, wow, 10% up over last year at 3,426. So
There you go.
look, we're still awash in
Yeah. So
listings.
3 more days of unconditional sales could be coming in, 3 more days of new listings coming in. I wouldn't be surprised if our new listings number in 3 days reaches similar to last year. In terms of net unconditional sales, we might get to, I mean, what did we have? Let me just go back 1, 2. New listings in the last week, 386. So let's say 50 a day, a little more than 50 a day. So in the next 3 days, 150, let's say. I mean, we could get there.
We could.
We could get there.
I think people are going to
Sorry,
wait till
pendings 190. So sorry, it was new listings. I think we could definitely get there for new listings. For net unconditional sales, we will probably be, I'm going to say 590.
Okay. Net unconditional sales for okay. Well,
By
I
end of the month.
feel if we found last weekend busy, I think we're going to see a big bump at the beginning of May in net unconditional sales because we're going to be behind about a week or two.
Through that.
Mhm.
So we'll see. Alrighty.
Okay.
So Jen came up with this topic today. What's hot and what's not? And this is interesting because it kind of sets a tone for what's happening with our statistics next week. So we're going to actually see the numbers. So let's overall, I put all the stats digests in AI and I had to analyze it. And this is also based on, what Andrew and I perceive while we're out there. So as we know, we're comprised, I think it's 13 municipalities in Greater Victoria. And so it's not one market. We have definitely hot municipalities. And Saanich East is always the hottest one, right? Because it's the biggest geographically. So it always gets highlighted. But Langford, they say, Victoria, Vic West, Oak Bay, Colwood, and North Saanich, based on March sales volume and pricing resilience. So single family
Are hot.
They're hot.
Those are the hots. Okay. What about the nots?
Okay. Cooler markets. It's interesting. They focus more on property type. So
Yep.
Waterfront single family. The price ratio is about 93% and it's taking 51 days to sell. Single family acreages, so they were specifically focused on Machosen as being 66 days to sell. And I would say probably Central Saanich there too. And then residential acreages, I don't know what the difference for that is, 89% price ratio. So those are coming down. The best investment opportunities I asked are Langford and Colwood because they have come down, but they have strong recovery potential and they have also relative affordability compared to other municipalities. And then the coolest is Souk. So the median single family home there is 839, but they're just finding that it's very price sensitive there. Yeah,
and I've always said, that it's like I call it the chocolate fountain or whatever. But if you have a bunch of activity starting, if you have a lot of interest in some, you start this again. The markets, when they start to get hot, tend to start to get hot in the core, and then it spills over and flows out to the exterior areas of Victoria. And so the center tends to be the place that gets hot fastest, that prices go up more quickly. And then as people find they can't find what they're looking for in the core, they start to go further and further afield. And so locally, Souk is one of those last places that people will go to. So it receives at the tail end, any kind of bump in new activity. And then when activity recedes, it's like the tide, it's the first one to lose it. That being said, Souk has some really excellent value, wonderful lifestyle if you're looking for that lifestyle, and certainly worth considering, but it's just that the price fluctuation is higher.
So it's interesting. One of the other areas that was identified as a cool municipality, not cool hot, but cool, was Newcastle. And I really do see that as because it's the between municipality. It's a shoulder district that people
Yeah.
don't stop and look at.
Yeah.
And I think when I was talking to this other realtor on the weekend, she mentioned she felt that Souk took a lot of attention away from Langford for a while, and I do think that happened in the early 2000s. Then Langford became the hot place, and now I think Colwood is the hot place.
With the Royal Bay development and the Beachlands development and more, like, where are they at for sewers? Because Colwood was behind on infrastructure for a long time, behind Langford. Langford got ahead of things with sewers. But Colwood was always a little bit behind, and that was one of the challenges with its development. But now with these big developments like Royal Bay, Beachlands, they seem to be catching up. And it's definitely geographically a superior place to be because you're near the water and so forth.
Right. So the sewers were developed along Latoria, and that's what it caused the development.
That development area there. Yeah.
But in single family homes in established areas like Colwood, they said 20 years.
20 years before they get the, yeah. So there's still a lot of septic fields in Colwood in the already established areas where they haven't brought new lines. So that's always been a bit of a struggle for people choosing between those two municipalities if they're looking to live in a a commute kind of lifestyle. So hot, not, that's another pros and cons on those. Highlands, that's always felt like an interesting one to me, and that wasn't even in the list, right?
So
is it in the list?
It's not in the list. You know why? Because I think some months they actually don't even have some sales.
A sale
happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's the geography just has less homes and there's less sales, and 2 sales could make the place hot, I guess.
Well, the median price there was a listing that just came up at $2.25 million, I think, on Southwood, which I forwarded to a client and I thought was a really nice home. It's a nice development. And I think, again, it's like View Royal. People kind of miss it. Like, they consider View Royal to be way out there, but they'll go to West Saanich or, they'll go to Langford, which borders each side of it.
I think that View Royal people, number one, don't understand just how big View Royal is, because there's a lot to View Royal. I mean, View Royal includes the area by the Vic General Hospital and up near Thetis Lake on the Thetis Lake side of the highway, and then the Thetis Vale down below the other side of the highway. But then you've got the Old Island Highway corridor going up through as you go out of town along the gorge. And there's so much different types of property and so much different types of geography. The View Royals, and there's not a lot of infrastructure other than the Admiral's Walk development and then beyond once you get into the Colwood border, that I feel like people don't. View Royal needs more development before it gets popular. And if you drive along that Old Island Highway corridor, you just see a lot of older homes that are really derelict, and you see RV park, and you see mobile home parks, and you see, like the Royal, there's the RV park there along the highway. I had a friend that lived in there for years.
I'm just laughing because I think that I don't notice that at all.
You don't?
I'm more like, well, I'm driving along and I go, New Fire Hall,
Ah,
They've got the new condos coming up along, like
mhm.
at Helmkin and Old Island Highway. They see just like the new condo building right beside the municipality. And then I know that they have their OCP is for townhouses in the View Royal area near the elementary school around there. So it's just interesting perspective, right? Like I'm seeing a lot of potential, but it's
Oh,
latent potential.
it's latent potential. I absolutely agree. I think that View Royal is a great place to get a foothold, but you don't have the amenities yet, and you're stuck a little bit in that commute section. But I still don't understand why somebody, because the difference in price is it's still reasonable. There's also some really
Mhm.
wonderful water view and some waterfront properties along View Royal. I don't understand why it doesn't get more love. Versus a place like Langford, where you actually do have to commute further to get to Langford. But maybe because it's a straight shot on the highway as opposed to going up the Old Island Highway, which can get congested. Maybe that's another element.
There's also all that shopping right near the Vic General Hospital. So there's a
Yeah,
big shopping mall there, and
there's
that
that.
is kind of the
That's
central
the new
shopping
center.
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this chart shows a median sale price for single family homes, and Oak Bay is leading at over
Yeah.
1.75. Then North Saanich, and then we have Saanich East. I was up on Cordova Bay Ridge the other day. Beautiful homes up there. That area is totally turning around. And then Victoria and Vic West are also up there as well.
Yeah. Oh, SI is Sydney, right? Interesting. Do you think Sydney's hot or not?
So I think Sydney is hot for condos. I think there's been a lot
Hmm.
of amalgamation of land, and consolidation of land into condos,
Yeah.
and there's also like it's a great retirement community, but there are also good schools there too. Mhm. Its
Yeah.
proximity to the airport and the ferries makes it attractive. It's the first place people come when they go off the ferry. It's very pretty.
I think Sydney is it doesn't really get the love it could expect as well. I mean, it's the people who love it, but it doesn't do as well as I would expect it to. Partly maybe because it's under the airport, some of the airport flight paths, but it has some really excellent retirement community kind of living, and maybe because it's always been seen as that, it doesn't feel like it has the vibrance that maybe some younger families would want. But I've met a number of younger families out there who just absolutely love it because it's quieter, it feels safer, it feels like maybe a more of an old school kind of community than you might get closer into town.
Yeah. To me, the biggest, and I always say this, undervalued area is Esquimalt. I think it's just
Mm-hmm.
it's so close to downtown. It can be a bit hard to get in and out. Like it's really an island where,
It physically is an island. Yeah.
yeah. So
Mm.
I feel, but I feel they've really worked hard to create a strong core there. And the community
Mhm.
center is amazing. They have great parks. You have oceanfront. You have great shopping. And I think if they updated that shopping mall, they would
Right.
be
The strip
awesome.
mall there. Yeah. Because it's
Mm,
currently a strip mall. It's got, yeah, it's feelings a little dated there. And that's one of the first impressions I guess you have as you go into the core. Then you go a little further though, and you've got the Esquimalt Town Center, nice pub, nice coffee shop, library, um, excellent buildings there for condos and such. And the lifestyle is Esquimalt's got a great lifestyle. I've lived in Esquimalt. I know many people in Esquimalt. I think it's always struggled with the impression that it's been a military area, and it had a lot of smaller wartime houses, which most of those are now getting developed into duplexes or
yeah.
newer infill. But I think maybe it was sort of seen as a bit of the wrong side of the tracks for so many years, and maybe it truly was. But
The,
nowadays, that's gone.
The other thing that it has, especially in old Esquimalt or Sax Point, I mean, actually, is it's flat. It's nice and flat.
Yeah.
So it's great for kids so they can ride their bikes and stuff, and it's
Mhm.
safe. What do you think,
Right.
Jen? You grew up in Victoria. Hold on a second. I'm just going to enlarge this. Jen, what do you think of Esquimalt?
Well,
E-town.
I'm a born and raised Langford girl, so
Yeah. So,
so no comment. No, I'm just kidding. I
yeah.
mean, I think Esquimalt's a beautiful area, and like Sax Point is so lovely. Yeah, the ocean views and yeah, walking around. Yeah, I love it.
But I've sold properties in Esquimalt recently, and it is surprising how getting people to come. There's still there's a pocket of people. It's not a small pocket. There are people who recognize value there, really love it, want to be there. It's on their list. But for every one of those, I also talk to people who say, "Yeah, no Esquimalt for me, thanks." So it's a little disappointing in some ways. But there's a conversation to be had about why not Esquimalt? What is it about Esquimalt that you're not interested in? Some of it is actually their commute patterns. Going up Admiral's Road can get pretty dicey at times.
If they had some way of commuting from the West Shore, because a lot of people who work in Esquimalt live in Colwood and Langford, if they reactivated that blue boat for where the diving facility is just across, and somehow allowed people to circumvent going all the way through View Royal, that would take so much pressure off all of Victoria's transportation issues, all of them, because those people are all going along Old Island Highway and turning right into Admiral's, and it's really congested.
We need like a channel.
We do.
We should have a channel. Yeah. Connecting the two.
Okay, so
Vic West though. Vic West. Sorry.
I love
we
Vic
could go
West.
on forever. We could go on forever here about lakes, hots and knots, but okay. How about you, Jen? What's your take on Vic West?
First thing I think about is every time I drive through Vic West, I see a bakery with a lineup that is like for so many, and I need to go to that bakery.
Fries.
Yeah,
you do. Okay, so I have a story about Fry's Bakery. So it is, to me, it's one of the best places to get a croissant. And I don't say croissant, I say croissant. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about.
I won't say croissant in front of you.
Do not say croissant. But anyway, if you want a really delicious croissant, which is like soft on the inside, buttery, and then a little bit kind of crusty on the outside, I went to get it. They have two that I love. One is the pain au chocolat, which is chocolate on the inside, and the other one is an almond croissant. And so anyway, I go in and it's Tuesday or something, and it's 3:00, and there are 2 almond croissants left. And I have driven from the West Shore for one of these. And I go in, I take the last, she goes, "Would you like it?" And I said, sure. Yeah. And then this lady comes in, she goes, "Do you have any almond croissants? I drove all the way from Gordon Head for an almond croissant." And she goes,
no.
She goes, "I only have one left." She goes, "I have 2 kids and I promised them an almond croissant each." And I said, "You can have mine and I'll take the pain au chocolat."
Oh, you poor thing. That's so generous. That's so generous.
That was very nice of you.
Yeah.
But
did you give her your card?
No. I'm sure she doesn't know who I am. But I will say though, the lineup is worth the wait, and you can get sandwiches there. They're not open regular hours, so I think Monday and Tuesday they're closed. I don't go there a lot anymore, but they also get their flour from, I'm trying to remember what the flour company is, but anyway, it's ground in Victoria.
Okay.
So it's high quality.
There's some great hidden gems in Vic West. Some of the same arguments for why Esquimalt
Yeah.
should be higher on the radar. Vic West is equally there, but I think Vic West also has some really excellent, like, good shopping. There's the Market Garden as well, if there's a little secret hidden spots, little drinking establishments and pubs and things that you might want to check out, of course. Spinnakers. And there's just Vic West and the Selkirk, along the Selkirk waterway. There's some swimming on the gorge. There's the Trestle Bridge. There's just so much beautiful stuff about it. I feel like Vic West is, if I was to buy anywhere for my lifestyle and for being able to be close to town without being in it, for being, it's got a lot going for it. And
One
there's
of
a lot
my
of different
favorite
types
streets.
of ownership. Like, Selkirk.
Selkirk. We have a listing right there right now, and
you do.
It's so lovely.
When all the cherry blossoms are blooming, which they are, that street is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
so
there you go. We're hot on Vic West. Well, I just want to double check that.
Okay. This is average single family home since December last year to March. So we're seeing Central Saanich has gone up a bit. We're seeing Oak Bay kind of hovering around 1.8. And we're seeing a little bit of a trend in Saanich East and Saanich West, both going up. And the big surprise is View Royal. They peaked in February. So I think that has to do with lack of inventory. So they came down. So there are some waterfront homes, as you said, Andrew, and I think maybe one of them sold in February. But
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, Souk is your best value, followed by Langford and for average home price.
Interesting to see many of these. I mean, some have gone up from February, but I'm seeing quite a few that actually have gone. Oh no, it's a bit all over the place, isn't it? Some up, some down.
This is a trend over just 3 months.
Yeah, it is. It's over 3 months only. I feel like I'm looking at some sort of weird cat's cradle thing. It's very confusing to me.
Okay, well, let's look at the sales volume. So this is Victoria, Vic West was the highest in all categories. So over 100, followed by Saanich East and Langford. And then we're looking at around 20 to 25, 30 in the rest of the municipalities. So definitely hot areas. Victoria, Vic West,
and Langford.
Langford, yeah.
Interesting though, because you said earlier, Saanich East is geographically one of the larger areas, but in terms of population density, maybe not, because Victoria, Vic West has much more in the way of, condos and population density right in the downtown core anyway.
True.
So that might be account for the sales of units, and there's definitely more condo. There's definitely going to be more condo units in that area.
Yep, true. Okay, so we have one more graph here, and that is implied average discount by property type. So I thought that was interesting. So you're more likely to get money off for a residential acreage. So I imagine the single family home on a large property. I don't know what the difference between that and single family acreage are, but
single family with an acreage, a residential acreage. I don't know the difference either, but I would speculate here on a couple of things. I mean, manufactured homes generally a lot more prone to negotiation and variability in price, for sure. Not surprising to see that. And then when it comes to waterfront and any kind of acreage, those tend to be higher priced, higher value offerings. Pricing those is a little bit difficult, and people tend to start higher, I find, and optimistically, because it is harder to establish a set value. They're also different and hard to find direct comparables. So not surprising that there would also be maybe more variability in price. It's not to say that person has listed their home waterfront property and the first day they take a whole bunch of money off the price, but it is to say that these take longer to sell. harder to find the specific buyer. They're going to be generally more prone to eventual negotiation or price drops.
Yeah, because they're unique offerings, and so it's hard to find the comparable. Like,
Yeah.
Pricing and acreage sometimes can be like trying on a big pair of pants, and there can be all this extra stuff, but you can't do anything with it. You know what I'm saying? And then
You're saying, yeah, you could have one flat usable acre and another property parcel that's like on a hillside, it's all rock and trees, and you can't actually build on it, and it's unusable. They're both 1 acre properties, but the value can change for sure.
And I think that speaks to experience in the market that you're looking in, because like, for instance, if you're looking at waterfront, I had a client last year, we looked at every single waterfront from Sydney to Oak Bay. And so all along the east side, and some in Brentwood, but mostly a preference for the east side. And I will say that, you begin to realize, okay, like some of them didn't have great parking. Some of them were on sandy soil. Some of them were on rock. Some of them were close to amenities. Some weren't. So these things don't come across unless you go and view the property, and you want to see if you've viewed the comparables that have sold, then you go and view the new listings, how you're going to show up compared to other homes which have just sold.
Fair.
That you can't get into.
But it is, it's so important to view them.
So hot, where would you say? What do you think is hot in condos are not hot?
Condos are not hot. They are warming up, though. They are warming up. They're not hot. Single family homes with suites in the average price point, that's traditionally and still is always been one of the hottest types of housing. I'm finding that row townhouses seem to be getting a little more love lately. And you'll actually see this in the discount here. It's the least discounted of the various property types. Partly maybe because it's easier to establish price because of comps, easier to find comparables, maybe.
Also, there are less of them, and so they're an affordable alternative to a single family home. So I think row townhouses are quite appealing to people. Jen, what do you feel when people purchase? Do they talk to you about how they feel about their purchase of each one of these different products?
100%. I gauge that from the beginning too. And what type of property are you looking at? Ideally, what's your budget? How much are you comfortable making for a mortgage payment? Talking about strata fees, pros and cons with that. Purchasing older versus newer condo or townhome, increase the strata fees, all those kinds of things as well.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Also,
Alrighty.
One more thing too with property taxes. So like in looking at the different, like what's hot and what's not, it surprises me all the time. Like property taxes, for example, looking at View Royal, their property taxes are low compared to Colwood, Langford, for example.
Yep.
So it is.
That's because they have the casino.
They've got all the casino income, and they're building the infrastructure. So again, long-term play, that place is hot. They have, they're going to develop infrastructure in the coming years, and it's going to be a great place to live eventually.
And my understanding is Langford's property taxes are going up.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I think like 12% or something. I don't know.
Wow, that's significant. That's significant. Okay, interesting to hear. All right, I think we squeezed. I think we're good here, guys. Are we?
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Well, thanks everyone for your time today, and thanks for listening or watching. As always, we would appreciate your input and feedback. So if you like the show, please give us a like. Please subscribe so you don't miss further future episodes. And certainly comment. We will respond, and we'd love to hear your comments and feedback. If you liked what you saw and you think somebody else would benefit from hearing what's hot and not, please share it out to your friends as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Thumbs up. Okay. So that's that. I am Andrew Plank, and realtor here in Greater Victoria and part of the Vibe Collective, licensed with Royal LePage Coast Capital Realty. And you can reach me at 250-360-6106 or info@andrewplank.com. And the website, andrewplank.com, is full of resources and additional information, as well as a contact button. Also, realvibe.ca. That's realvibe, VIBE.ca, for the team website.
I am Jen Lowe, mortgage broker with Dominion Lending Center's Modern Mortgage Group. I can be reached at 250-217-4925 or email jen@jenlowe.ca or my website, jenlowe.ca.
All right. And I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. I'm going to update my picture. And my number is 250-744-0775. You can reach me at jane@briarhillgroup.com as well. And don't forget to go to our website to see what's going on. And actually, you know what? I'm putting a lot on YouTube these days. So Jane Johnston, Realtor. And don't forget to follow at Realty Teacher _Remax _Victoria to see what's happening in Victoria.
There you go. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much. We do come to you on Tuesdays. We now are recording around 2:30 and maybe publishing around 4 p.m. This is no longer a live recording at this time, but again, if you do comment, we will be getting back to you. So thanks again for your time, and we will see you guys next week.
Okay. Thanks for joining us on the Greater Victoria Real Estate Show.
We're here weekly, bringing you up-to-date insights on the Greater Victoria real estate market.
Make sure to follow and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you listen to podcasts so you'll never miss an update.
We'll be back next week with more clarity around what's happening and what it means for you.